You are what you love. And so our society, we've changed what we love and what we've perverted the meaning of love. We've perverted what true love is and what the meaning of it is. And so as we think today about you are what you love, and I've used the example, and I used the example last week, if I love my wife, I want to spend time with my wife. If I love my kids, I want to spend time with my kids. Now, certain circumstances, we know people that are in the military and things like that, they would love to spend time with their family and lives. But because they can't, or they can't because of their situation or their circumstances, but when they get back from their tour of duty, when they come back, they want to spend time solely with their spouses. And I'd use Brother Mike as an example, but he came back this week and went paintballing. So if you listen to me, Brother Mike, this message is for you. And so as we think today as the introduction of you are what you love, excuse me, time is the message today, the title of time. We know what we love by how much time we spend. A source unknown says we master our minutes or we become slaves to them. We use time or time uses us. Another source unknown says more time is wasted not in hours but in minutes. A bucket with a small hole in the bottom gets just as empty as a bucket that is deliberately kicked over. A lot of times we think, if you think about a bucket and you put holes in the bottom of it, it's going to get just as empty as if you knock it over. If I don't spend time with the people I love or the family that I love, a lot of people think, well, if you get a divorce or if you get separated or whatever like that, you automatically stop spending time together. Well, that's not always the case. There's times that what comes between, it starts growing to separate us. So in other words, during football season, I'm a little bit less around my wife. Why? Because I'm watching football. But if I don't watch what I'm doing, I can let that little bit of time apart start growing. I can let it start taking a little bit more time apart. One thing I was thinking about is that I was talking with Brother Mike this week on Thursday, and he told me, he said he likes reading out of the King James, he said, but one of the things he dislikes is that all the names. And he said there's times that he'll read through it, and this person is son of this person, son of this person, and he said it's always very tiring to read them, especially how hard the names are. And so I did a little bit of research, and I was thinking about it, and in 2 Kings chapter 15:23, it says, in the 5th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel and Samaria and reigned 2 years. And what's funny is I picked out the middle name, Pekahiah. I thought that's the weirdest name. I said, but let me Google it. I'm just going to put in a Google search and see what comes up. And so I put King Pekahiah. Guess what came up? Came up him in Wikipedia. It gave me the dates of that he was king. It told where he was king over and all of this information. That's why God gives us this. The Bible says, or God said not to add anything to his word or take anything out. Why? Because everything has a significance. Everything has a purpose. We sit here and we say, well, some of these names are hard. Trust me, they get even harder when you're standing in front of everybody and you're reading them. Because you always know you're going to mess them up at that time. And so as we think about that we're not to take out or put in anything extra. Why? Because it will pervert the gospel. I've done a lot of research on Bibles, and I've done a lot of research, and I've talked to pastors, and I've fought against pastors. I would say, well, no, the King James isn't perfect, preserved Word of God. This version is, or this version is. And I'll say, really, because it's been revised several times in the last couple of years. I say, if it's perfect, then why do they keep revising it? You start doing research on it. If it's perfect, then why are they taking out verses? Why are they taking out words? Why are they changing words? Why are they trying to pervert the gospel? Our world is changing the meaning of things. And it didn't happen overnight. It's happened slowly, slowly, slowly. Here in a couple weeks, I'll be preaching a message on porn. Not a lot of churches preach on porn. But I'll be preaching this message, and God's still giving it to me, and I've been working on it and doing the statistics on it, and God's really burdened my heart over these themes of these next coming weeks. That we are what we love. If I spend time doing something that means I love that thing. Brother Shufeld loves to hunt. If he didn't, he wouldn't spend time hunting. We love, if we say we love God, how much time do we spend with God? In Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1, the Bible says, to everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the sun, under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to his sons of man to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and do good in his life. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, that men should fear before him. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And God requireth that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. Let's pray. Dear Lord, I thank you for your love towards us. Lord, I pray that you will bless us. Lord, I pray that you will fill me with your Holy Spirit. Lord, I pray that you'll speak through me this morning, that not my words will be heard, but yours. Lord, how we need you. Lord, how our nation needs you. Lord, how our city needs you. Lord, we've come to a time in our lives where we're putting things before you. Lord, where we're loving this world more than loving you. Lord, where we worship this world more than we worship you. Lord, I pray that as we start this series, You Are What You Love, Lord, that you will speak to us. Lord, I pray that you will bless us. Lord, I thank you and I love you. In Jesus' precious name we ask it. Amen. As I've started preparing for this message, and next week it'll be on 1 Corinthians and talking about idols and how much time do we spend with idols and how much time do we put before God our idols and what idols are in our life. And as I was preparing for this message, I started looking and I started doing research and I started talking to other pastors, and I started realizing that church stores are closing on a daily basis, that pastors are quitting on a daily basis, and that Christians no longer are coming into church, and that our love for this world is getting more and more, and we're starting to put things before God, and we're starting to put things before us, and we're separating ourselves from God, but yet we're still calling ourselves Christians. I've talked to people that will say, I'm a good person because I don't need to go to church. We're seeing a generation gap. I talked to several pastors and they say, well, we have a gap that about from 50 years on up, we have people, but from 50 years on down, we're losing people. Satan has decided he can distract us. He figured out that to destroy a generation, he can distract a generation. And then to destroy the generation, not only does he distract them, but then he also tells them that, hey, you're perfect. You don't have to worry about going to church. You're a good Christian. It has surprised me in the year and a half that I've been a pastor, and the thousands of people that I've talked to here in the city that will say, well, I'm a good Christian. And I'll tell them, really? And I'll ask them, why are you a good Christian? Why do you say you're a good Christian? Well, because I love God. We can get into that. I asked a lady one time, I said, if you're a good Christian, that means you go to church. Do you go to church? Well, not always. Usually when I go to church on Sunday morning, I'm a little hungover from Saturday night, and so the music is just a little too loud. It gives me a headache. Pastor will preach a little too rough. It gives me a headache. I spoke to another one and I said, why don't you go to church? And she said, well, because the pastor, he's just not a modernist. He doesn't get up there and, he was up there in a suit and he was like just judging me the whole time. Last week we played the Church Hunters. I was going to play another video today. I'll play it next week. But Church Hunters, and it's a spoof on how this generation thinks. And it talked about these. It showed these two couples, or this couple, and they were saying, "Well, we don't like that church. It's too traditional, and it just convicts too much." When I talk to people and I say, well, do you read your Bible? Do you spend time in prayer? Do you talk to God? Do you listen to God? What are you spending your time on? That will tell me what you love. I've counseled people with pornography problems. They'll say, well, I still love my wife. And I'll say, well, you're not showing it when you're spending more time on the computer. You're not showing it when you're distracted by other things. We are what we love. And the basis to all this is how much time we spend. How much time do we spend, like I said, reading our Bible? Last week I talked a little bit about the Church of Philippi. A church that loved God. A church that wanted to follow after God. Next week I'll be preaching off of Corinthians. Not the same church. They didn't think the same way. Our society has changed. Our society is changing the churches. Churches aren't growing anymore, but football stadiums are. Churches are dying out, but yet we see more and more sports teams. More and more stores popping up. You talk to people and you say, well, do you give tithe? Oh, that hurts always. I talked to a young man this past week and he said, yeah, I do everything God wants me to do. I said, really, do you tithe? Well, I give sometimes. I said, not to judge. I said, but how much money do you spend on yourself as opposed to God? He's like, oh, that kind of hurts. I said, when the new Madden comes out each year, do you buy that? He's like, oh yeah, definitely. I said, but yeah, when the offering plate comes around, do you give money? Every once in a while. See, Satan has dirtied the mirror. He's changed the mirror. He's put a cloth over that mirror where you can no longer see yourself, and he'll say, hey, don't worry about it. Trust me, you're a good person. I told my cousin yesterday, I said, as the pastor, I agree with the Apostle Paul when he said, I'm the chiefest of sinners. When I prepare these messages, God's speaking directly to me. He's saying, Chris, he said, you know what you're doing wrong here. But that's why I read God's Word. I'm the kind of guy that if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know I'm doing something wrong so I can fix it. I want to know I'm doing something wrong so I can get back on straight and I can do what I'm supposed to do and I can do what I need to do. First thing that I see here this morning is that time is a gift. Time is a gift. In Mark chapter 1 and verse 14, it says, "Now after that John was put in prison, Jesus came into Galilee, preaching the gospel of the kingdom of God, and saying, the time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of God is at hand. Repent ye, and believe the gospel." In verse 16, it says, "Now as he walked by the sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And Jesus said unto them, Come ye after me, and you will become fishers of men. And straightway they forsook their nets and followed him." As we see that time is a gift from God. It's not a secure thing. This morning we could, or tonight going to bed, we could go to bed and not wake up tomorrow. I've had several people that I know that just in the last year, they've lost a loved one just all of a sudden. A young man that used to work for me, his 18-year-old cousin, was driving home last week during the rains, and I'm guessing she was distracted in some which way or another, but she missed a turn and wrapped her car around a tree. The day before that, they were making graduation plans. The day before that, they were talking about how she was about to graduate from high school, and the parents were so excited and so proud of her, and just wanted to be with her and loved her, and just wanted to spend time with her. But then the next day, within 24 hours, she's no longer on this world. This morning, I want us to understand that time is a gift. It's not a secure thing. It's not something that we can just hit pause and rewind a little bit and go back. No, each minute that we spend doing what we love is a minute that is not, we cannot get back. I've been part of pastors counseling couples, and they say, well, we just don't spend time together anymore, and she's just too distracted, or he's just too distracted. And I've talked to people, and I've said, well, where did it start? And they said, well, it just started with a little bit. It started with just one thing. It wasn't just like all of a sudden he woke up and said, I'm going to go over here for a week. It was just little by little. He started spending time with something else. He started spending time in something else. He was wasting that gift. How many of us in here this morning could say that we are wasting the gift of God by time? We're wasting our time with other things. I like video games every once in a while. I've never been really a big video gamer. I'll buy everyone every once in a while. But last year I bought a game, and I was just kind of bored throughout the week, and so I saw this game that was on sale, and so I went ahead and bought it. And when I started playing it, I got addicted, I mean big time. It was like, it just sucked me in. And I remember I was playing this game and had to beat it, like I said, I'm not a gamer and I don't really get into games, but this game I got into. And it took me about 2 weeks to beat it. But I remember when I got done with it, I'm like, yes, and it's over. And then I stopped and I looked back and I thought, man, I just wasted 2 weeks that I can never get back. In this video game, I accomplished what it wanted me to accomplish. But how did that help my life out? It didn't. How did that benefit my relationship with my wife? It didn't. How did it benefit my relationship with my kids? It didn't. How did it benefit my relationship with God? It didn't. How did it benefit my relationship with anybody else? It didn't. Why? Because I wasted that time. Time is a gift. We need to realize that this morning. There's a saying, time is money. No, time is everything. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If we've lost somebody, and I've lost people that are dear to me, I can spend as much money as I want and I can't bring them back from life. I can give up every worldly possession I have and they will not get breath again. Time is everything. What are we spending our time on? Jesus here, he sees the apostles, or he sees these 2 young men, and they're fishing, and they're working and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're doing what their fathers have done, and they're trying to get fish and to eat, and they're trying to work, and they're trying to do what this world tells them to do. And Jesus says, hey, forget everything and follow me. Why? Because time is short. Time is short. If today was our last day on earth, how would you spend your time? If you woke up next morning and you didn't feel good, you went to the doctor and you said, doctor, I don't feel good. And he took some tests and he came back in and he said, you know what? You've got 24 hours to live. How would you spend it? We all have a death sentence. It's called life. There's that saying, don't take life too serious. None of us get out alive. Knowing that we will not get out alive, how are we spending our time? One day we'll stand before God, and one day God will ask us, what did you spend your time on? Well, God, I was watching TV. God, I was on Facebook. Ooh, that one hurt. In the mornings, it used to be when the alarm went off, I'd look at Facebook to kind of wake up and catch my attention and get going and get the day started. But I started realizing that when I woke up, and first thing I started looking on Facebook, and I started reading through it and looking through it, and all like that picture, and I'd make a comment, oh, happy birthday, and so on and so forth. And I swear I thought I was only on it for about 2 minutes, and then I look over and, oh my word, I've been on it for 30 minutes. I just wasted half my morning. Now I don't have time to do my devotions. Why? Because I was on Facebook. I wasted my time. Second thing I see is that time is total. We can't pick and choose. We can't add to time. We can't take away. We can't add to our time. We can't say, hey, I want to redo. Hey, I didn't like the way I lived, or I didn't like my 30th year, and so because of that, I want to redo. And so instead of turning 31, I'm going to turn 30 again this year. Well, we can't do that. The time is total. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 29 says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they weep not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possessed not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. But I say, brethren, time is short. We don't have a lot of time in this world. We can't add to our time. When our time is up, our time is up. When our time is done, our time is done. We cannot add to it. A pastor a few years back, he had a stress break. He was doing too much, and I knew he was doing too much, and we would tell him, hey, pastor, you're doing too much. You don't have enough time. You can't keep at this pace that you're going. You're doing too much. He got up to preach one Sunday morning, and you could just tell he's lost weight, and he was not doing well. And he gets up there, and he starts crying, and he walks off the platform, and 3 months later, it took him to finally get back. When he came back, and he stood before the congregation, he said, I appreciate your prayers. And during this sabbatical that I've had to take because of my health, I realized that God gave me one horse. And if I kill that horse, that's it. We have what we have. Our time is all that we have right now. It's a gift. It's totaled. We're not going to get anything extra. We're not going to get a redo. We're not going to come back as a grasshopper, a cricket. If you do really well, you might come back as another human being. No, that's what the world wants to say. That's it. In other words, and this is where it hit hard to me. If I spend my time watching TV, and I spend my time on my video games, and I spend my time on Facebook, and then I pass away, now what about my kids? How are they going to remember me? What about my kids? I can't come back to talk to them about salvation. I wasted it on something that is not of God. I wasted it on the things of this world. It's it. It's done. There was a man about 5 years ago, or about 13 years, 11 years now. Wow, it's going by real fast. 11 years ago, there was a man, he came into church where we were at, and him and his fiance, and they were excited about getting married. And I remember talking to him, and, hey, how are you doing, brother? And just excited for him to be in church. And he worked a lot and did a lot, and he was just really, we just never really saw him that much in church. But this time he came this Sunday. As I spent time with him, talking to him, his demeanor was off. I remember asking him, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, it's fine. He said a key word, but because I was too distracted, I missed it. The key word that he said is that everything will be fine. I remember when we left, my wife and I got in the car, and we're driving home, and it dawned on me, he said, it will be fine. But who says that? It's kind of a weird statement. Who says it will be fine? Most people say, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's life, it's whatever, But not a lot of people say it will be fine unless there's a specific reason behind it. So we got home, and I thought, I'm going to give him a call again, just see how he's doing, just make sure he's okay. I decided to eat lunch first, and so I ate lunch, and I got done, and I thought, he's probably taking a nap, so I'm going to take a nap too, and then after my nap, I'm going to call him. So after I woke up, and I thought, let me give him a call. So I gave him a call, and he doesn't answer. It rang, went to voicemail. I called again, he didn't answer. I thought, okay, well, hopefully maybe he'll be in church tonight. We get to church, and as we pull in the parking lot, I noticed the pastor's not there. But this is weird. Pastor's always here. He's always here way before us. I thought, this is just weird that he's not here. I hope he's okay. So I call Pastor, and he doesn't answer. I call him again, he doesn't answer. We walk in, my wife and I, into church, and we get in there, and everybody just had this look on their face. I went up to the assistant pastor and said, hey, what's going on? He said, brother so-and-so? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I tried calling him this afternoon. He said when he got home after church, he came in, he sat down, and he had lunch. He walked outside, he's sitting on his front porch. His fiance came out, and she made him lunch that day, and so she came out, and her parents were there, and as she comes out and sits with him and says, hey, is everything okay? He said, it will be. She goes, okay. Well, she walks inside, and as she's walking past his closet, she notices that his door is open. She thought that's weird, and as she was going to shut it, she noticed that the gun safe was open. She looked in there, the gun wasn't there. She thought, what on earth? As soon as she turned around, she heard the gunshot fire. This man took his life that day. I talked to her, and she said when she opened the door, she said it was as a dream. She said, I can't even explain to you what I saw. He was so depressed and so discouraged. Satan told him that he was worth nothing. Satan told him nobody loved him. Satan lied to him blatantly to his face and said, it'll be all better if you just take your life. As I thought about that, I thought, time is told. He can't say, I did a mistake. I'm going to come back to life. He can't say, I have unfinished business in this world. I need to come back to life. His time was total. That was it. That was the end of his time. If we were to die today, how much unfinished business do we have? If we were to die today, what else do we have to get done? The day is coming before the night night's here, the time's coming for the night's here that no man can work anymore. In other words, Jesus Christ will be coming back very soon, and he'll be coming to take his children home. How much time do we need? How much do we need to get accomplished before he comes? If we have 24 hours left, would we spend it watching TV? If we had 24 hours left, would we be on Facebook? If we had 24 hours left, would we be watching porn? If we had 24 hours left, would we be washing our car? Would we be doing this or that or the other? What would we do if we had 24 hours left? The time is total. Last thing I see is that we will be judged off of our time. Being a pastor has its perks. It also has its downsides. I've talked to people and I've counseled with people. And I've listened to people talk. One thing I learned out early when I started becoming on staff is don't speak too soon. Let people talk. You'll find out a lot more about them if you let them talk. Here in Broken Arrow the last year and a half, I've let people talk. And when you let them talk, you find out just what's on their heart and just what's on their mind and just how good of a Christian they truly are. I don't know about you, but I come to church to get my life right. Every Sunday, I need it. If I don't come to church on Sundays or on Wednesdays or I start missing church in the past when I've gotten away from God, and each week that I spend away from God, and each week that I didn't get near God, and I spent one more week over here and one more week over here, I realized that every time I got away from God, every week that I was away from God, my life got worse and worse and worse. I realize I come to God's house to listen to his preaching, to listen to his word, to show me where I'm wrong, to show me how I can get it right, to show me how I can be a good father, to show me how I can be a good husband, to show me how I can be a good pastor, a good Christian, a good spiritual person. Why? Because I need God's word. We will be judged off our time. As I was preparing the keynote, I came across a little picture up in there that kind of cut off a little bit. It says too late. Too late. How many of us have woken up or set our alarm clock for it just not to go off? There's no worse feeling than knowing you have to be to work at 8 o'clock and your alarm clock going off at 7:45, or you waking up at 7:45 being like, man, I felt like I got to sleep in today. Man, these 6 hours of sleep were great. And then you look over and you think, oh my word, it's 7:45, I got to be to work in 15 minutes. Too late. When I was in Bible college, it was, if we had 3 tardies, which means if we were within 15 minutes late, they would dock after the 3rd one, they'd dock our grade 5 points. If we didn't show up to class period, they'd dock our grade 5 points. I'm not very book smart, so I couldn't afford to have those 5 points off because, let's just face it, there's no way I could do it. I remember there was a couple times that my alarm clock, I set it, I know I set it, and it didn't go off. I remember looking over and thinking, oh my word, I've got 10 minutes to get to class, or else I'm going to be late. And I mean, I would like throw on any pair of clothes I could find. And there was one day I walked in and I had like a pair of navy blue pants on and like a lime green shirt and something. I mean, it was like so far off on color. Teacher looked at me and he's like, your alarm didn't go off? I was like, no. He's like, well, at least you made it. Yeah. When we get to our life, when we get to the end, we will be judged off of our time. The Bible says in 1 Peter 4:17, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God? In other words, the time is coming where us as Christians that do come to church, we will be judged. Apostle Peter here is saying, what about the ones that are in the world? In other words, if we're saved, we're not going to go to hell. We know that. The Bible says we're sealed until the day of redemption. But the ones that are not saved, what's their judgment? Their judgment is their time is up. If you read Revelations, out of all the books of the Bible, I dislike Revelations the most. Why? Because it shows what's going to happen. You've talked to people, I've talked to people, and people say to an extent, I would like to know the time I'm going to die. The date, the time, you know. When you know that time's coming, I've tried to put myself in people's shoes. And this past couple of weeks in Arkansas, they did, I think, 14 executions in like 13 days, something like that. I started thinking about what that inmate does, and I believe he deserved it, but I started thinking about if I was in his position and thinking when I woke up that morning, I won't go to bed again. Thinking, this is my last meal I'm going to eat. Thinking as I'm walking down the hallway, this is the last time I won't be walking back to my cell. I won't be walking back over there. This is the last time I'll be walking through here. That in itself would be horrible. As we think about the time that we'll be judged, and we think about how this world will be judged as well. Every day this world is walking through that hallway, never going to turn back again. Never going to go back again. There's people this morning that will probably not go to bed again tonight. That 18-year-old girl last week woke up thinking, hey, my future's bright. I've got a great future ahead of me. She was dating somebody thinking I will be getting married soon and just excited about life, not thinking her time's up. What are we spending our time on? The Bible says in Psalms 90:12, so teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. That we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. In other words, what is benefiting? Well, where are we going to be benefited? Where are we going to be helped? Where are we going to grow? I came across this quote, or this, I don't really know what it is. It's from an unknown author, but it said, time wasted. How would you like to spend 2 years making phone calls to people who aren't home? Sounds absurd. According to one time management study, that's how much time the average person spends trying to return calls to people who never seem to be in. Not only that, we spend 6 months waiting for traffic lights to turn green, and another 8 months reading junk mail. These unusual statistics should cause us to do time use evaluation. Once we recognize that simple life maintenance can chip away our time in such huge blocks, we will see how vital it is that we don't busy ourselves in vain. In Psalms 39:6, Psalms 39 gives us some perspectives in David's complaint to God. He said, you have made my days as handbreadth, and my age is as nothing before you. Verse 5, he meant, that was verse 5, he meant that to an eternal God, our time on earth is brief, and he doesn't want us to waste it. When we do, we throw away one of our most precious commodities he gives to us. Each minute is an irretrievable gift and an unredeemable slice of eternity. Sure, we have to make the phone calls, and we must wait at the light. But what about the rest of our time? Are we using it to advance the cause of Christ, to enhance our relationship with him? Is our time well spent? Each month as a business owner, I get what they call profit and losses. In other words, it gives me the sheet, and sometimes it's 50 pages long, sometimes it's 100 pages long, and it details out what I've spent my money on. It's crazy because I look at these things and I think, how on earth did I spend that much money on energy drinks? How much money did I spend on these little things? I mean, they're only $1.59. How did I spend that much money on it? Because it chips away a little bit. Little by little. Little by little. Then you get to the point of when you get to the end of the month and you realize just how much you spent. If we could look at profit and losses on our life, on our time, and we could pull up this sheet and we could see how much Janet spent. I'm going to use Janet, she's up front. How much time Janet spent on this or that or the other. If it would detail out to Janet or to us what exactly we spent our time on, I think all of us in here would be very shocked. I think all of us in here would be very, very concerned. How much time are we spending? How are we spending our life? What are we doing for our time? There's a quote here. It says, an average lifetime, the average American spends 3 years in business meetings, 13 years watching TV, spends almost $90,000 on food. I think that's gone up a lot. Consumes 110,000 pounds of food. Makes over 1,800 trips to McDonald's. Spends almost $7,000 on vending machines. Eats almost 35,000 cookies. Almost 1,500 pounds of candy. Catches 304 colds. Is involved in 6 motor vehicle accidents. Hospitalized 8 times if you're a man, or 12 times if you're a woman, and spends 24 years sleeping. Today, I'd like you to ask yourself, what am I spending my time on? I'd like you to evaluate your life. Every morning when you wake up, ask yourself, if this is the last day on earth, how am I going to spend my time? We are what we love. If I spend my time on the things of this world, then I love this world. If I spend my time on the things of heaven,